and welcome to Tech Tuesday, presented by Delta Media Group. We were thinking if you just got the Widows and the Dora Milaje together, you wouldn't really need the Avengers for anything, right? Because they're pretty tough on their own. Alright, so today we are going to deep dive into the living and breathing thing that is the DeltaNET and take a look at Social Connector. Now, we have done Social Connector videos in the past where we kind of detail how Social Connector or social media, it's under the social media tab here, how that whole thing works. But we have made some more updates to it, so I always like to cover it when we add some updates. So let's get straight down to business. First off, in order to get to the Social Connector page or the Social Connector settings page, you can click on social media here in the side navigation, which is going to be the easiest way to get you there. Or DeltaNet 6, you can use the quick actions up here at the top and just type in social, and you can click on social media here also. So a nice shortcut to the page that way. Now once you're here, you can see this is where you do all of your configuration and all of your setup related to your social media connector. Now I will start out by just kind of describing, now that we're on the page, just kind of describing what this does. And it allows you to connect any, I'd say any one of, but really any combination of these four or all four of these social media networks. So right now it is set up to work with LinkedIn, Facebook, if you have a Facebook business page, Twitter, or Instagram. With any of those, once you have them set up, you can have the system automatically make posts to those social media platforms based on whatever preferences you choose in here. Now we have cleaned up this interface so that everything lines up real nice. Everything is a little bit easier to understand and easier to come in here and kind of quickly identify what you have turned on and what you have turned off and how often it should post, things like that. So we'll just go ahead and kind of take a run through these settings, and you can see the kinds of things that can be posted here. So as we roll down the line, you can see we now have a row for each post type, so it can post new listings. So as your new listings come on the market, it'll make that post. It can post open houses, so whenever a new open house comes on for one of your listings or an open house that you're hosting, it can post those as well. It can post reviews, so anytime a customer comes to your website and submits a review, it can post that automatically. It can post market watches, so there is a market watch reports page that we have some other videos where we go over in more detail. But basically, if you go up here to marketing and go down to market watch reports, that'll take you to an interface where you can create market watch reports that will be auto-posted to social media based on the settings you choose here. It can post MCFL or My Customer for Life articles from the My Customer for Life system. That is a system where it's basically Delta curated content, so we create a bunch of articles and we add in a few new articles each week, and the system, when those new articles when those new articles are added, can automatically post them to the social media page of your choice. You have blog posts, so anytime you create a new blog article, it can post those as well. It can post a listing video, so basically a link to your listing detail page every time a new video is added to a listing. Price reductions, so anytime a price is reduced on one of your listings, it can post a link to that detail page. Same deal with back on market, so a listing comes back on the market, it can post it. If a listing goes pending, it can post it. If a listing comes in as a sold listing, it can post it. And I skipped over coming soon. If a listing comes in as a coming soon listing, it can post that. And if you pre-announce any listings using our pre-announced listing system, then it can post those as well. So you can see there is a wide variety of things it can post for you, and it gives you the options of turning those on and off per social media entity, and not only that, but per business page. So if, for example, you have multiple Facebook business pages, you can actually post different things to the different pages if you want to. Alright, so we've given you the quick rundown of all the kinds of things it can post. So real quick, we'll take a look at hooking up these social media connectors, and then kind of go through a few of these and look at the actual individual settings within each post type. So, first and foremost, you can see if you have it hooked up already, you can see that it will be marked as connected here. If you want to disconnect any that are connected, you have this drop down up here. If you only have one connected, for example, if only Facebook were connected, this would say disconnect from Facebook, and you could click it and disconnect that, and then reconnect it if you want. But if you have multiple connected, then it turns into a drop down menu where you can select from those that are connected. If you want to connect any additional ones, so you can see I have two here that are not connected. The process is the same no matter which one you're hooking up. The only difference is where it takes you when you click the button. So, for example, if I wanted to hook up Twitter, I'll go ahead and click on that, and you can see it opens up Twitter login page where I would log in here, and that would basically authorize our connector app to interact with your Twitter account. So we'll back that off. There we are, and then Instagram works in exactly the same way. So if I click on that, you can see it opens up the login page now. Instagram is now owned by Facebook, so it does run through Facebook. Now, one thing that is definitely worth noting here is that it does actually make the Instagram post. Now, that is a recent update we did. What it used to do was prepare an Instagram post that you could then share manually. Now it actually creates the post for you. So it makes life quite a bit easier in that regard. But what you do is once you sign in on those, it will take you through the permission granting steps of each of those entities, and you just go ahead and approve the permissions it's requesting at each step, and then when you're done, it'll be hooked up and it'll show up like these connected options here. Once connected, you can just go through and click on the what'll start out as an X in each one of these categories to turn on that post type and kind of configure that post type to work how you need it to. So we'll go ahead and run through Facebook. So new listings, if I click here on my, what is a checkbox because I have it turned on, I have the ability to turn on and off that type of post. I have the ability to limit how often or basically how much the system will post. So the way that works is it limits the number of posts of this type that will be made in a day. So if I set this to 2 per day, then that means if I were to happen to get 3 new listings that day, it would only post 2 of them, and it would put the last one in queue and then post that the following day. So that's how this is set up to work. You should post up to your limit that day, and then it will queue up any remaining posts for the next day. It will only hold those posts for a certain period of time, though. I believe it'll hold on to those posts for a week, and after a week, if it still hasn't posted, then it just didn't make the cut. So just keep that in mind. With new listings, it is rarely an issue because you're typically not, getting 20 new listings a day or anything like that. So, I mean, that would be nice, right? But that's not exactly typical. So it's not something we run into a ton of. Now, the only thing that's special in here is unlimited is typically what this will be set to. Normally, you're just telling it, every new listing I get, I want it to post it. So if you get, 2 new listings in a day or 20 new listings in a day, it'll post all those that day. Now the special option is manually post. What that does is if a new post comes in, or it picks up a new listing and decides that that's eligible for posting based on the other settings in here, then it will build that post and put it in queue immediately. So instead of trying to post it, it'll actually put it straight into the queue, and that makes it available for you to post manually from the manual post tool in the DeltaNET. And I'll show you that as soon as we run through each of these different post types. So the next thing we have here is you can have it automatically delete posts. The idea is that when a post is of a certain age, just to kind of clear up the clutter there on your Facebook business page, you can have the system delete those automatically. I would say that is the most useful for open house posting because, you don't really need to advertise the open house once it's over. So what you might do is set the open house posts to, last for 7 days and then drop off. That's a nice way to go about that. Just kind of keep your page clean and keep outdated information from showing up forever. Now, in addition to having this defining a number of days that it can stay, you can also use this option to define out a number of weeks, a number of months. So, you have a lot of flexibility as far as when you would have the system automatically delete posts for you. I mean, you could even say after 2 years, go ahead and delete my post. So you have a lot of options. Oh, and minutes even. So here we are. Switch that back to days. Let's go back to 7 days. Now the next thing you can do is you can define a post template. So this is what it's referring to with a template. Basically what this is going to do is it will post a link to the listing detail page on your Facebook business page. But that link will be accompanied by just this little snippet of text that shows up above the link. So it'll have this snippet of text, and then below that, the link, which will actually be like a thumbnail picture of the listing detail page, or really it grabs a single picture, usually the primary listing photograph, and it'll display that along with the listing address and things, and that's a link back to the detail page on your website. So if you want to customize this snippet of text, you can do so by using these post templates. So first, there are some templates in here that you can use. However, if you want to make your own, you can just click on Edit, and here we have our default template. I can edit any of the existing templates in here, and I believe some of these I probably added a while back. But you can also create a brand new template where it starts out blank, and you just type in whatever you need, and then you can just copy and paste these bits to have dynamic sections or dynamic parts of that text that will load up with the information from the listing that it's actually trying to post. So you have a lot of flexibility there as well. And then when you're done, you would just click on Done, and that would save a new template for you, if you did create a new one here. So we'll close that out. Now let's go back into our post settings here. So that's how you set your template up. Now the additional thing that you can do with any of the listing-based auto posts, so this would be not just new listings, but also open houses would work like this, new coming soons, any of the listing-related ones. You have some advanced filters here that you can use to further narrow down the listings that it picks up. By default, it is going to pick up every new listing of yours. However, if you you get a lot of new listings, or you're setting this up for a team site maybe, and you want listings in certain areas only to post, or listings only in certain price ranges to post, you can use these settings to do that. So you see you can set which MLS they came from, you can define a specific location if you wanted only listings from a specific city or zip code or school district even to show up here. And you can also limit it by property type. Now, if it is enabled by the company, you can even post other agents or other offices' listings in here. You would just define those agents or offices here, and in addition to your listings, it would pick up theirs to post to the in this case Facebook, your Facebook business page as well. So there you have it. Now the other neat thing you can do with this is, because this exists on every Facebook auto connector you have set up, you could have multiple Facebook business pages, and you could define one location for all the listings you want to post to one, and a different location, or any of this criteria, different price range, different property type, to post to the other Facebook business page. Maybe you have a business page dedicated to residential and another one dedicated to commercial. You could have all the residential listings post to one and all the commercial listings post to the other by just selecting the business page and then configuring these post settings and saving it, and then going back here, selecting the other business page and doing the same thing. So you can see you have a lot of flexibility as far as what listings post, and even kind of how you segment your marketing if you have multiple Facebook business pages. All right, so let's move on down. So next we have Open House. If I click on this one, you'll see that this is roughly the same. The only difference here is that with an Open House post, you have the option of or an additional option to decide which listings it'll pick up. So by default, it is going to pick up listings that you are the hosting agent on, and that's it. So you're set up as the hosting agent of that open house. But if you wanted to post all open houses on your listings, even if you're not the one hosting them, so if you have another agent in your office, for example, or if you're on a team and another agent on the team is hosting the open house for you, you can select this option and it will still post that listing to your Facebook page and kind of advertise the open house, because as you can see, open house date time is here, so it does highlight the open house itself. So you can have that post even though you're not the one hosting the open house. Other than that, it works exactly the same as the new listing post. As we move down the line, we have reviews. If I open this one up, it's exactly the same, but without the advanced filters that allow you to filter listings, because this is not at all related to listings. So there's reviews. Market watches, exactly the same as reviews. My Customer for Life. There we go. So now this one is also very similar, but this one is more like the blog system settings. What's special about My Customer for Life articles is that every Thursday is when we add new articles to the My Customer for Life system. However, you may not want it to post every day of the week. So the idea here is that you can decide what days it will actually post your My Customer for Life articles. They all get added on Thursday, so instead of posting them all on Thursday, you can select some additional days here, and then it will post each day. Let's see, there we go. That was My Customer for Life. So blog posts, we'll open this one up. So blog posts, again, exactly the same as the reviews. I know I said My Customer for Life was like blog posts, but I was thinking about My Customer for Life. So the My Customer for Life one is the one that is unique. Blog article posting, that works exactly like the reviews and the market watches. Listing videos, just like the other listing posting features, so just like new listings, that works the same way. Price reductions, again, works the same way as the new listings posts, only these post types, so both price reductions, back on market, listing videos, they're not being triggered by the adding of the listing itself. They're being triggered by adding a video to a listing, the price being reduced on a listing, or a listing that used to be on market coming back on market. Pending listings is the same deal, but triggered by when the listing becomes pending. Coming soon, same as new listing posts, only it's looking at listings or new listings that come into the system with a status of coming soon instead of a status of active. So that's the only difference there. Sold listings is, again, works the same as the other listing-based posts, but it's looking at sold listings that come into the system instead of new active listings or coming soons. And then the last one here is pre-announced listings, and you can see again it works essentially the same way as the other listing posts, only this one's not watching for listings that come from the MLS. This one is watching for listings that come from the pre-announced listing system. And if we scroll up here and open up our listings drop down, you can see we have pre-announced listings. As long as that system is enabled for you at the company level, that's available for you to go ahead and put listings in before you add them to the MLS. And again, it's all subject to your MLS's regulations as to whether or not that is something that you are able to do. But if you are able to do that, if your MLS allows that, then this does give you the ability to kind of pre-market listings. So this system would pick up those listings in particular if this was activated. So there you have it. So that is each one of those settings and how each one of those works and how you can set each one up. As you look through here, you can set up exactly the same settings for each of these different post types. So LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. You would also have multiple Facebook business pages showing up or multiple Facebook entries if you did have multiple Facebook business pages. All right. Now, the other thing that you can do here is if we go up here to the Create a Manual Facebook Post button and click on that one, it takes us to the manual post page. So remember how I had mentioned that one of the post frequencies for a Facebook post is manual post, where it puts it in the queue and relies on you to manually post it. This is where you can do that. Here, if you have multiple business pages, you can click on this drop down and you can select from there. But once you've selected the page you want, if you go down here to posts, this drop down will contain any queued posts. So you can see right now it doesn't have any, so the only thing there is this create my own message. But if there were some posts queued, if say for example I had new listings set to manual post and I just added a bunch of new listings within the last day or two, those would all show up in here and I'd be able to select from them. It would grab the image from the listing and then automatically drop a little post content in here that I can then modify however I want to and hit create post to create it. I can also use this scheduling function to go in here and schedule a time for the post to take place. So if I don't want the post to happen immediately, I can create a post here and I can schedule it to happen later. Now you can see it's set on create my own message, so I can actually do that with my own posts as well. I can just go in here and add an image. I would add an image from my computer, whatever I want, type out what I want my post content to be, hit create post, and that'll create this post for me. So that's just a way that you can create those posts with the DeltaNET to kind of put everything in one place. It's just a convenience feature. So you don't have to go off to Facebook to make your post. You can do it right from here. But you can also schedule it, which is nice. So just schedule it to, post it another time where you wouldn't get so much if you went straight to Facebook and posted it from there. Now, any of the posts that you have scheduled show up down here in this list. So you can see the when it was scheduled, when it took place, if there were any links attached to it, anything like that, you would see all those here. So you have that. And then you also have the post history functionality. I don't have any history in this account, but if I did, it would show me when it posted, what the post was, and have a link to the actual post itself. So I could click in here and see the post on Facebook, just to kind of verify that it's there and it looks how I want it to. So there you go. So now we'll back over to our social media page. There we go. And we also have that view post history button here, and this button does the same thing. Now this is just looking at the Facebook post history. So there you have it. That is Social Connector as it exists today, or the social media page. So this is how you would go in and create or configure the Social Connector system to automatically create social media posts on your behalf. So as always, thank you very much for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to email support@deltagroup.com or give us a call, and we can help you out with whatever you need. So thanks a lot, and I will see you again next week.